my headset, it's a little challenging to hear on this. All right.
Okay.
So
Well,
first show was really
how
fun.
are you? So it's been, sorry, go on.
Say that again?
We have a little
No
bit of a
problem.
delay here, so it's sometimes we cross over each other. But I was just asking, how are you and how your week's been? And I'm Diane Latte, by the way, for anybody who's watching who's new to this. This is our second episode of Magical Mofos. And so I'm Diane, and our information is all on our page, but I'm www.soulrestoration.ca. And Althea?
I'm Althea, the other mofo, and my website is www.creativeclearings.com. I'm still having trouble hearing, but oh well. I'll just read your lips, but I can't read the caller's lips, so that ought to be fun.
I will be looking down. So last week I had, at the last minute, figured out I couldn't use the Skype on my laptop. So for anybody who's listening to this, we're also doing video on YouTube. It occurred to me after last week's episode that some of the beginning might sound a little odd to somebody who's just like listening to the audio, or you can download the audio of the shows as well. So it's because we're also on YouTube Live as we're doing this. We're doing video. So yes. For me, it's meant doing a little bit of rejigging around of. So my laptop is on my lap, which means I may be looking down just to see if anybody's writing in, chatting, or if we've got any messages. So just so it doesn't look too like I'm not playing Candy Crush or anything.
And I will be making faces and looking all over the place trying to hear because my headset is really odd and I may have to replace it, but that won't be happening right now.
Okay, no, not in this moment, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in case anybody's new to us, when we're pretty new to this because it's our second episode, please do call in. What we do on this show is we will help you clear things, get past things, I guess, identify and release limitations, blockages, to help you. This is the way I explain it, but Althea, please jump in, to help you be more of you and less of other people. So to stop sort of functioning from other people's points of views and really be more of who you are, who you be. And we get to that not by searching outside of ourselves, but by undoing all of the crap that we've learned and all of the beliefs and the things we've learned from what's happened in our lives. And as you peel all of that away, you emerges. And so that's, I would say, Althea, right? That's kind of our goal in this show, right? Would you say?
So we're basically going to make you comfortably uncomfortable and get rid of a bunch of crap that's not yours so that you can live happier lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe a little
and have fun while doing it.
No, we don't have fun.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so please call in. One thing that kept coming up for me today to mention is how challenging it is for people to ask for help a lot of times. I have to take this one out. It's like I have so many people that come to me for help and they will just flat out tell me, like, I don't have anybody else I feel like I can go to. Like they have to put on a facade that everything, whatever this thing is that people see them as, that they have to hold this persona. And it's like there's nothing wrong with asking for some assistance. You know, it's not even about being a victim. It's not that type of stuff either. It's like, what if you could ask a question and someone else could give you a perspective that you never even thought of and change your entire world, basically.
Right.
And a lot of people are very scared and uncomfortable and will just sit in a lot of discomfort, sometimes misery and pain, because they feel that it's bad or wrong for them to reach out to someone else. And I just hope that people will stop doing that, you know. So I don't know how else to word that, and my throat is bothering me.
Yeah, and so. What do you think is behind the not wanting to ask for help? So what would you say is also a part of that? Because it's not as simple as just I don't want to ask for help. I mean, it is and it isn't,
Well,
right?
I've noticed with a lot of people, not always, but with a lot of people, they are usually holding space for others a lot. Maybe they own their own business. Maybe they do some sort of counseling work or healing, or they're in a position where a lot of people see them and depend on them, leadership type of position. And they just tell me, I feel like I have to always hold it together and that I can't ever let people see me vulnerable about anything. So that's what I generally am dealing with, those people in that position. And of course, other people have that too, but.
So it's about not appearing vulnerable.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems to be a bad thing. That seems to be a bad thing for a lot of people. And it's
yeah, and I'm just going to
ahead.
interrupt for a second. I want to read out the number if anybody wants to call in. If you want to work on anything, if you want to release anything, if you want some sort of guidance. I mean, we don't really do readings, but we are both intuitives and we do this work from an intuitive place. So if you want to call in and chat with us, the dial-in number is 602-666-6027. If you go to the Achieve Radio page, well, you're probably on there if you're listening to this, but there's a whole list of dial-in numbers. I think it's just in the States though, and I'm in Canada, but you can, dial in through Skype or whatever else you want to dial in on. Call us. Okay, sorry, go on. So we were talking about not wanting to ask for help and appearing vulnerable, and you said, I totally interrupted you.
My attention and my mind is.
I'm sorry, I totally. So we were talking about.
No. Just really encouraging people to reach out. I mean, that's how I even met you. You having a radio show on here, what you said 10 years ago. And I would call in almost every week for a while because I'm like, oh, this is great. And I wanted to feel better. I mean, I didn't have anything like horribly bad going on in particular, but I did have, a lot of abuse as a child that was really traumatic that I wanted to work through. And I was like, I don't care if it's recorded. I don't care. And it really made me feel better that there was an opportunity for me to help other people by putting myself out there too. I don't know. I'm always a sucker for that. If I can help somebody else, I'm like, all right, let me do it. So.
Yeah, I don't have a problem asking for help either.
No.
I can't say that it's always been like that. I think, and sometimes, you don't have a problem asking. Sometimes it depends on the person, right? Might be easier to ask certain people for help on certain things. And so it's not just a cut and dry, like, I can always ask for help for everything. Obviously, it depends on who and what. And I think it's interesting though that the reason I was asking what else is around the fear of asking for help is sometimes it is just I'm not allowed to ask for help. People may have that belief based on what they've experienced in their childhood. If they ask their parents for help and were chastised for it or made to feel wrong for it, or sometimes it can be like a straight out I'm not allowed to ask for help. But sometimes it's about other things, and I guess that's kind of what I wanted to get to, because it's like, I'll take an example for me is the fear of flying, right? So I've done EFT for so long, and you break things down into pieces when you're doing EFT. And like in a fear of flying, there's so many other parts to that. There can be the fear of dying, the fear of heights, the fear of being out of control, the fear of enclosed spaces. It could be so many different things that create this fear of flying. And then you take them apart. So it's often not what we think it is. Which, often there's stuff that's going on that we're running unconsciously, right? Or subconsciously that we're not aware of. And so this is kind of an example of that. So if you're afraid of asking for help, what else is happening there? And is it really just about not wanting to ask for help, or is it, like you and I both do healing work, energy work, and you can feel free to disagree, but I have a feeling you're going to agree with me on this, that people sometimes don't ask for help. I think they kind of at some level know it's going to work. And so we often think we want something and then part of us doesn't want it. And success is one of those things, right? So people think they desire for a change and then don't actually take the steps to get that change, even if it's talking to me or you or doing something like that to get the change, which is really interesting. And it's easy to say, well, what we do is different, it's not the norm, and so people might not want to try it, but that's just an excuse. I mean, if it works and you're told it's a possibility and then people don't choose it, like what's underneath that, right? What else is there? I totally went on a tangent with that, but that's how I roll.
Well, no, that's very, very true. That does happen. Like a lot of times people don't want the help. But another thing, as you were talking, that I realized I've had come up with people is feeling overpowered. Like, I want to make it clear that what you and I do is very empowering to others. Like, we're able to see things and feel things, but it's all about empowering the person that's coming to us. It's not like, here we are, we know everything, and we're going to tell you what to do. And I don't know about you, but for me, yeah, I am psychic. Yeah, I can read and I can see where things are going, but I'm not going to tell you where things are going because you're creating that. I'm not going to disempower you by saying, yeah, you're going to do this and this is what's going to happen. You're creating it. You created it, you can discreate it, change it up. So this is a very fun, empowering thing. It's not you come and, then we're sitting across from you and then you feel like you just made yourself vulnerable. And I've heard of people say, they made themselves vulnerable and, maybe someone in the past used that information against them. And so that's another aspect of it too, of why people don't ask for help. Just feeling like, maybe there's ego involved. I don't like to use that word very often, but maybe like, oh, I can't let myself be seen, asking for help, all kinds of stuff, like you said, even with fear of flying. But yeah, I know that just kept coming up today about asking for help. So
it's when I used to do readings, like strict, not strict, but I mean, no sort of, what am I saying? When I used to just do readings, sorry, I'm multitasking because I'm just posting on Facebook our phone number. When I used to just do angel readings, I would explain, and because I'd spoken to I'd spoken to a lot of people who also did angel readings. To me, they differed from the sort of stereotypical, I guess, or what you think of as a psychic reading, because I never did predict the future. For me, it was always about really like guidance, like having a conversation. If I would say it's like having a conversation with your angels. So if you have some questions, but it's not about like, yeah, your future is fluid and it's totally dependent on you, and it can change like that depending on your thoughts and your decisions and your choices. And so for me, it was always more like, seeing the different possibilities in somebody's life, right? So if you keep going this way, this could happen. If you desire this in your life, then this is the action you can take to get there. So it's very fluid, and and most of the time people already knew what I was telling them, which is often the case, I think, with psychic or that kind of intuitive reading. People are like, well, tell me what I don't know. Well, you're going to know everything because it's you that I'm reading and you already know everything. That's kind of the whole how it works. You're way more intuitive than you think. Yeah. So well, that's kind of so what we're going to just keep chatting. If we're going to keep chatting, then I'm going to go into what's interesting about people who come for intuitive readings, which I don't really do anymore because I prefer to do, and I think you're the same, I prefer to do the work that carries people, that moves people through something and to the choice of the other side of that, like to beyond that, into choice and possibility. And for me, just doing an intuitive reading that just gives information, it's just not fulfilling for me as a practitioner. But people like passive help, and I'm not saying this in a judgment way, like it's neither right or wrong, but it's an interesting thing where people will go for readings to get information, but then when they're less likely to desire to do the work themselves to create change. So some people do choose that, but it's an interesting dynamic in this world of energy work and readings and intuitives.
Yep, it's definitely interesting. I prefer to help people have more awareness so they can choose what they really want. If you want somebody telling you what to do, don't come to me. That's not how I do it. I'm like, nope, not gonna do that. I will redirect you. What do you want? All right, do you want that? All right, let's just pull that in. What do you want? Don't ask me. I'm not telling you. I'm not gonna play that game. It's just better that way. I've noticed, in multiple ways, it's better. So you had mentioned something. Go ahead. Sorry, I overlapped. Go ahead.
Well, no, keep your thought. And again, if anybody wants to call in and chat about something or ask a question or get cleared on something, please go ahead and call us, because that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, we're free. 602-666-6027. Oh, we have somebody. Let's take it.
Yay!
Okay, so let's go to Emma. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Hi. I wasn't going to call in today, but I have been asking for help, like from my angels, the past 2 or 3 days, and I kept feeling the resistance of wanting help. Like I didn't want to feel overpowered, and I felt like I should be able to figure it out by myself, and I felt like I should be able to get the answers from my own guides and angels. And I really didn't want anyone to influence me, but I realized that's keeping me really stuck and not in a victim mode, just circling. So that's why I called in, because you were mentioning everything that was going on in my head.
Well, isn't that funny how we do?
What are the chances of that? All right.
Slim.
Awesome. I'm going to let Althea take this, because I worked with the 2 colors last week, so I want Althea to work her magic. But I did want to say one thing, or ask a question. Emma, when you were talking about not being, what did you say? You didn't want to be overwhelmed, or you didn't want to be influenced?
Yeah, like I've worked with people in the past, like psychologists and healers and therapists, and like every modality there is. Well, that's a lie. I've worked with a lot of modalities. But this sense of like in a person's attempt to help me, that they push in their own thoughts into my system, like, and just feeling that it cloud my own knowing.
Yeah.
And it's well-meaning. Absolutely. Like no one's trying to do that. But I just noticed I kind of went, get out. I don't want anyone in here telling me anymore. But then I noticed that I was pushing out so much that I wasn't letting in.
Exactly. And that was creating its own. Yeah. It was creating its own block. Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like a shield from life, in like protecting myself.
Perfect. Okay, I can say stuff about that after, but Althea, take it. Magical Mofo.
Hi, Emma. You ready?
Hello. I wasn't
Hi.
gonna call, but yeah.
Huh? You wasn't gonna call?
I wasn't gonna call, but then I did.
Well, all right. So as you know, I don't do very much talking when I'm doing this. You're gonna see my hands moving around. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Whew. Go ahead and just allow your energy to ground all the way into the planet, relaxing, feeling the love and support. And go ahead and clear your connection to Source. I want you to just expand your energy out as big as the universe and beyond. Just allow yourself to relax a little bit more. Just becoming aware of all the places that you have up all these barriers and shields, and just allow them to melt. Go ahead and release any hooks, cords, entanglements with people, places, or things throughout all time, space, dimensions, realities between them. Just notice that releasing in the stomach area. Whew. So I'm going to go ahead and take a nice... Yeah, you have a lot coming out the stomach area.
I know!
Woohoo! All right. Just relax. Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to assist you.
Thank you.
Breathe as we go ahead and release out any other people's energies, thoughts, feelings, beliefs, patterns, programs, and any of your energy bodies. Got a little bit in the heart area, releasing out kind of by the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Releasing all responsibility to take on other people's stuff. Deactivating and letting out any fear energies. I'm going to take a nice deep breath into the brainstem all the way down the spinal column as we flush that area out. And regenerating, reactivating the central nervous system. I want you to just see all of your soul fragments, all of your energies, anything you feel like you gave away, just coming back to you from all different directions. Reintegrating into your being. And I want you to claim back all of your power now that you ever gave away, knowingly or unknowingly. And we're going to release any oath, vows, commitments, contracts, obligations, anything I haven't mentioned to give your power away. I'm going to go into the head a little bit here. I'm releasing anywhere you feel like anyone could overpower you or control you. And just letting go and gently relaxing a little bit more, allowing yourself to speak up more fully and ask for help or assistance whenever that feels right for you. Noticing getting much more relaxed. So was there anything else in particular you wanted to work on?
Yeah, thank you very much, by the way. I've been feeling like this sting in the back of my neck, like a tube that comes up from high, and it just like grabs at the back of my neck, and I keep trying to clear it. And I think somehow it's associated with this feeling that someone can influence my thoughts, and like, Lord, that I can be influenced. But I feel it at the back of my neck like this heavy column.
Okay, so let's go ahead and release that out. Any lifetimes that maybe you did give permission, any residue, just breathe into that area. And anywhere you feel like this can't be changed, and anywhere you gave your power away to this device. So, Truth, do you actually want this device gone, or did you put it in place? That's interesting.
Holy shit. Oh God. Oh fuck.
Okay, you're so funny.
My hands are
All right, so you want to let that go now?
I think, okay. All right, I don't need it, right? No, I don't need it. Okay, no. Okay, yeah, clear. Please, thank you.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How's that feel?
Whew. I don't know yet.
Say that again? You don't know yet?
No, I don't know yet. Like, still not, like, settled for me yet.
Relax, relax. Well, let's go ahead and bring up the energy and just delete out everywhere you need permission from other people to trust your own intuition, your own knowingness. So what if you could just allow yourself to ask for assistance or help, play with other people energetically, like have fun with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're automatically giving your power away to them. So whatever that energy is where you're equating asking for help, talking to people about energy stuff, or letting them clear you equates to you being disempowered, let's go ahead and release that, okay?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And can we go ahead and release any shock and trauma, any heavy, dense, or negative associations with any healing work you've ever done?
Yeah, please. Yeah, I know what this is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Can I say something, Althea?
Say that again?
I said, can I say something?
Yes.
What about if I ask for the help, I have to take it? So if I ask for guidance or opinion, then I have to take it. So everywhere you've bought that lie, will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, I'm using the Access Consciousness clearing statement. I'll just clear this and then I'll go back to Althea.
Yeah.
So, okay, so right, wrong, good, bad, line, shorts, so everywhere you've bought and sold the lie that you have to use, take, and make meaningful the help that you've asked for. Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all, return to center with consciousness? Right, wrong, good, bad, talk all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay, sorry, Althea, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Thank you. What I was noticing was that this sense of obligation, if I allow someone to connect with my field, because I worked with this guy recently, and actually afterwards he helped me with what I thought I needed help with, but afterwards I was going to bed and I wanted to cry, and I felt like I was trying to escape what he'd done, and I felt like abused, actually, and I was really scared by it. And I've kind of noticed, like, I've kind of pushed away from letting people assist me in that way since, like just not feeling safe.
Well, keep in mind also you want to be in your awareness. It's not everybody that you're going to want to work with. So, let's just release anywhere you're judging yourself for that, making yourself wrong. Just breathe, releasing any shock and trauma around that. So just check in if you were even in your awareness or not. Did you really want to work with this guy? Or like Diane was saying, did you just automatically feel a sense of obligation because you wanted help, he appeared, and then, okay. So whatever that is, let's just breathe. So anywhere you're still holding on to some of that obligation energy, why don't you just breathe into that? There's a little bit more there.
Yeah, I'm getting the obligation, and the obligation I'm getting is almost like it's my job to be the client. like you've set up this contract to be the perpetual client to give other people a purpose. So everywhere you've done that, and all of the promises, vows, and contracts, and oaths, wow, that you got around that, will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Across all lifetime, space, and dimensions, right, wrong, good, bad, pot, talk, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Whew. Whew. Althea, back to you. Sorry.
How you doing, Emma?
I'm good. I feel like I'm like getting the treatment, like people from all angles coming in to support me. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just you keep popping in and out of your power too as you're speaking to me, because there's that part of you that knows who to ask for help and when, and then that other part of you is like, crap, what did I do? This didn't even feel right from the beginning. So
within the first minute of speaking to him, I was heard. I was like, oh fuck, get out of this situation, and I didn't. So, yeah.
And, I'm sure you've done that before, but let's just go ahead and take a breath and give yourself permission to
I've never done that.
pattern. Never, right? So go ahead and just release any judgments around it. Let it go. Let's just really bring in the energy and activate that you're going to start trusting yourself more and more each day. And trusting yourself and what you want to choose is like, you can choose to play with people and have them do energy work, but not that obligation to, somebody's here, I have to let them work on me. Just breathe or let that go.
What's really interesting dynamic I've noticed is that when people have events that they had a premonition, they had a gut instinct, they had a awareness, whatever you want to call it, to, let's say, not do something or do something, and then they don't follow it, and then something bad happens, right? Something negative happens. Mm-hmm. When something positive happens, I find it harder for people to say, oh yeah, I knew that. But when it's bad, people will say, oh, I had that, and then they get so frustrated with themselves, then they shut down the awareness. Instead of saying, hey, I knew that, so now I'm going to start listening to that. So instead of taking it as a lesson, like a learning experience, and optimizing that and exponentializing it, working with it, people shut it down. So everywhere that you've set yourself up to shut down your awareness, wow, across all lifetime, space, and dimensions, and everybody you've hired to help you do that, will you destroy and uncreate all of that and return to center with consciousness? Mm-hmm. Right, wrong, good, bad, nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Back to you, Althea.
How are you doing, Emma?
I want to bring up something else. My legs are shaking.
How are you feeling?
I feel shaky I feel good, but my nervous system's quite shaky.
Okay.
As we were talking, is your name Diane? Yes. As Diane was talking, I just kept being aware of the thought, and especially when you were saying, actually I just went blank. But I kept being aware of the thought is no one can help me with this. It doesn't matter who I try, they kind of get there, but no one can help me with this. And that's, I've just been really aware of it. I've worked with a lot of people, and they all have been amazing at different times in my life, incredibly. And yet I still feel this core thing, and it's around my chest of but no, they can't help me with this.
And Truth, can you help you with this?
Probably. Yeah.
Everywhere that you're looking outside of you for what you can give to you, will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Mm-hmm.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Did you want to say something, Althea?
Just feeling the energy, Perceiving, letting it settle.
Okay, so Emma,
Mm-hmm.
can you? One of my favorite tools to use, one of my favorite little spells is I want you to bring up all of that energy of whatever it is that you think you need to be helped with. Wherever you're keeping yourself stuck in being the victim of whatever that you can't get helped out of, it's like this sort of, that cycle that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So bring up that energy, and bring up the energy of not being able to be helped out of it and needing to be helped out of it. That whatever it is that's going on is a wrongness. Get it? All of that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to repeat after me. Interesting point of view.
Interesting point of view.
I have this point of view.
I have this point of view.
Interesting point of view.
Interesting point of view.
I have this point of view.
I have this point of view.
Interesting point of view.
Interesting point of view.
I have this point of view.
I have this point of view.
As long as you're working from the framework or construct that you require help, you're going to keep creating situations that make you feel like you need help. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And I even had consciously had awareness of that, and then I was like, okay, well, I don't need help for this because I can do this, but because my attempts felt fruitless, like I was doing a lot of action and then just not feeling like anything was working, I was like, okay, well, maybe I really do need help. So it was just like going back and forth to the same kind of restricted thing.
Right, and maybe things were just showing up different.
Pardon?
Maybe things are just showing up different than what you expected.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Oh my God. Yes, they are. Yes. 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 Oh my God. Oh. Yes. I reckon. I don't think it's a yes. I was expecting white stallions. I was just making a joke. I was expecting a white stallion to come.
Say that again.
Are you there? I was expecting to be saved. But for something for something big to come in to help me make the change, for it to have to be more dramatic than it needs to be. Right. And because it isn't as dramatic as I think it needs to be, it's I think nothing's happening yeah.
Right. Perfect. That's great. It's a great awareness.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else? We can keep going with you, Emma, because we still have some time and nobody else has called in.
I'm happy to.
Unless you're all good. But...
Say that again?
I don't feel like there's anything specifically. Oh, hang on.
Don't have anything specifically?
No, not really specifically. I feel kind of settled now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, please don't make anything up if you're feeling good and light. No need to do all that. No need to recreate it all.
Yeah, you just process.
Enjoy. Just enjoy.
I love how now she's like, no, I don't need any help with anything. That's great.
Perfect. Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah, you can ask questions, you can play, you can chat, whatever. But yeah, listen to your awareness. If you're done, you're done. If that's all you wanted, then perfect. That's great. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, you feel really good. Much. You feel very fluffy and light.
I feel playful. Oh, it's nice.
Giggling is good. We're always
Emma,
laughing.
Yeah.
You can stay on if you want to
Yeah.
or hang up, but I just wanted to say, I love the whole idea that, and we talked about this last week, and it's, I've known for a long time, and I use different words for it, but now with sort of access concepts, it's deep in that, but the awareness that most of what we are thinking and think we're being and doing, it really doesn't belong to us. I've understood it as a soul, as an energy. Your love and peace and everything else is just crap that we pick up in, as human beings. And in access, it's like, well, as an infinite being of light, most of the stuff that you're thinking and believing and doing doesn't belong to you. As an infinite being, you wouldn't choose a lot of these things. And so most of the time when we're functioning from these constructs, right? Like needing help or not needing help, or I'm stuck in this, or, I can be the victim of somebody's energy. Like, as an infinite being of light wouldn't believe those things, that wouldn't even be, it's stuff that we pick up sometimes consciously. We hear other people saying certain things, and then sometimes it's just you're not even aware that you've picked that up from somebody else, right? So it's really good to sort of kind of step back. I like that interesting point of view tool. When you're doing for yourself, if you have, it's cool when you have somebody like Althea or me who can kind of identify what the belief is that you're working from. Like, even for us, we do it to each other sometimes, or,
Yeah, you have blind spots,
Yeah, and the more you are in that awareness, the more you can pick out the thoughts that you're having that seem really real, and then you're like, wait a minute, this isn't even true. So whatever that is, right? Whatever tool you want to use to clear that. So that anybody could ever, psychically influence you. Like, that can only be if you allow it. And so it's just a belief, and it's a belief that is, I think, kind of prevalent in the spiritual world. It's not something that I've ever adhered to.
Profoundly disempowering. It's profoundly disempowering.
It is very disempowering. And when you're in your power, I mean, would an infinite being of light be affected by anybody else's energy? No. And just because you're in a human body doesn't make you any less the infinite being of light. In fact, it kind of just gives you this whole other dimension, because now you're in a human body. So now you have a human body to have this human experience with. It doesn't diminish or limit the infinite beingness of you. It exponentializes it. But we've bought into this lie that the human body somehow limits us and keeps us smaller. And so, yeah, you're the one who gets to choose whether you want to believe that. And guess what? If you believe that somebody else's energy is affecting you, it's going to affect you because you're allowing it. You're creating that. Right, Althea?
That is so true.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, the thing is, a lot of people would prefer that you're not in your power. It happens. It makes people very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But we don't care about that. We like to make people uncomfortable. Keep that in mind, Emma. You're super powerful. It's going to trigger people. Are you okay with triggering people?
I know. I heard this thing, someone said it to me years ago, I can't even, long time ago. This person used to suffer from anxiety and being overwhelmed by other people's energy. And this martial arts dude took her to a massive train station in China, like when it was the time when everyone got off the train, and that was her worst nightmare. But he taught her the lesson that and he was just like really focused with her to just relax and breathe. And he's like, what I want you to do is when everyone gets off the train, I want you to let all of their energy into your body and let it come through you. And for her, it was just like, well, that will kill me. but what it taught her was the non-resistance to it meant that it wouldn't stick and it would just fall straight off, and that she'd maintain her integrity, like her power. And at that time, for me, it was like I just got so much power back believing that, because I was just defending against the energies around me. But it's like, well, why would it stick to you unless you're resisting it?
Exactly. And when you're putting up defenses, then you're putting up defenses. Then you're not allowing yourself to have all the awareness possible. You're not allowing yourself to access everything that you require to access to create what you desire to create, because you're got all of these defensives and blocks, and you're a powerful magical mofo. You don't need to defend against anything. You don't need to block anything, and you don't need any like armor or anything like bubble. Like you just be, and other people can be, and you just, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story, though. I like that. Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just had the visual of when you were talking. It's like when you defend, you actually enter into the game. It's like once you put the armor on, you can start playing, and that's how the energy can start into playing. But if you don't, you're not in the game. You're watching.
Yeah, or you're playing a different game.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're participating in a different thing.
Play your own game.
What kind of game would you like to play? One that requires armor and fighting? That gets old really fast. Yeah. I haven't been there. Yeah, I used to get my butt thoroughly kicked with being aware of people's stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm done making myself wrong. And it's not about making yourself wrong about those things and how you perceive energy. It's just having the awareness and then choosing that, I actually can do this in a different way. I don't have to go out into the world and feel like everyone's energy is attacking me. And that was a whole new concept for me many, many years ago. And I mean, even recently, it's just an awareness sometimes too. You're aware of other people feeling that way a lot of times. Keep that in mind. A lot of people feel very attacked. They walk around in that state. Everything's a battle to them. Life is hard. Life's a struggle.
Yeah.
I think I'm circling around this top. Like I circle around. Go.
No, go on, Emma.
Just saying the topic of like I think I circled around this topic of energetic defense and just being in my power, knowing I couldn't be attacked like years ago, and I'm like coming to a new understanding of it now, like circling around the topic again with a different awareness. It's like okay, I understand there's even more now. You have to understand both sides.
Yeah, and when we were saying when you did the visual of putting the armor on, we were talking about, playing that game. You really are entering into somebody else's reality, right? So you need to jump into their reality and make that real. If you're doing that, you really are going to play their game, as opposed to saying, I'm just going to stay here and do me. Like,
Do you know of Aikido, the martial arts? I don't know if that's how you say it. Do either of you know of that?
What is it?
The martial arts called Aikido. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah. What, Aikido?
Yeah.
Yeah, Aikido.
Yeah, you got it. Where you like, but I still, anyway, that's just too heady. It's the art of not engaging and just letting that other person's attack knock themselves over.
I like it.
It's a good one. You just literally, you let the force of their own projection or energy that's coming towards you, you just step to the side, so you step into your own alignment, or you're out of that vibration, like if you're looking at it from that level, and they knock themselves out with their own forcefulness that they're trying to throw at you. So they fight themselves in the end, and you just dodge and go on your path. You just, off you go. And then they've fallen over.
It reminds me of this, years ago I saw this video of this little kid. I don't know who was videotaping, but the mom was in a room and this little kid was having a tantrum, and he was on the ground, and like the whole banging of the fists and just yelling, having a tantrum. And mom just ignored him and walked to another part of the house, and the kid stops his tantrum, gets up and walks over to where she is and starts the tantrum all over again. Just back and forth a few times. And she's just like not buying it. Right. And he just, he's totally in control of it, you know, stops and goes. But I wanted to say, on top of, you know, in addition to what you were saying, I think that's a really, really great visual and a really great way of thinking about it. Like Althea said before, always be in your awareness. Because what if, you know, it's not about being passive necessarily. It's not about, like being an allowance of what other people choose doesn't mean that you have to be passive and you know, like let people do certain things, or there's a balance there. And when you're in your awareness truly, then there might be a time when you're like, oh, in this circumstance, I need to do something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Or you get the, like, I like the concept of when people say, okay, something dangerous is happening in this situation, it's not safe. But, like, if you're in connection to yourself, you all of a sudden go, hey, I just want to go get something from the shop. And so you leave the house that sets on fire 30 seconds after you leave. It's like you're protected by that connection, that alignment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Very cool. Well, you sound like you're in your power.
Magical mofo. I just wanted to add really quickly, if I could, that about being in your awareness. To Emma, I just wanted to mention really quickly about her being in her awareness that sometimes when we're aware of maybe something's not right for us to do, for lack of a better word, we feel bad because we're having the awareness of, no, don't let that person give you a massage, or no, don't turn that way on the street. Sometimes we start beating up on ourselves and judging ourselves when the awareness is uncomfortable. Well, awareness is very, very uncomfortable sometimes. It can be. You're just being aware and you want to stay neutral. But if you open up and go, okay, hold on a minute. What can this person do to me and in my life if I let them in? Is this a fit for me? And I don't always use the access questions. I don't always fit in the terminology. I use the word feelings and stuff, so I just roll with it. But I've caught myself many times, because as you know, I'm super aware, and I'll be like, oh, that person doesn't feel very good over there. And like, oh, should I feel bad that I know that they're not feeling good? And it's like, okay, Althea, you need to just stop. You're just gathering information. You're aware of how they're feeling and how they're feeling about themselves and judging themselves. But if I start blocking that stuff off, I have blocked off so many cool awarenesses that could really help make my life more fun and easy. And so I'm willing to be a little bit more uncomfortable and go, okay, cool. First of all, it's not even our stuff. Like, basically everything's not ours. We're just picking it up. So I want you to, make sure that you stay in your awareness, even if it feels a little uncomfortable, because you are very intuitive, Emma, and you're going to pick up on other people's stuff. Everyone's intuitive, but you know what I'm saying.
And the moment that it's disempowering, for sure, it isn't yours. It's not yours.
Yeah.
Empowering, right?
The word, like, I was.
It's funny.
The word I would use is like guilt, almost. Like when you know something about a situation or a person and they're still reaching to you in some way, and you're like, I can't. Just an example, I was out at a shop the other day, and this guy, he's got a forceful energy, this guy, and he's a fine person,
Emma,
but his
Emma,
yeah?
It's the end of the show. I'm
what?
so sorry. Thank you for calling, though.
Emma! Thank you, everyone who's listening and watching.
Call back next week, Emma. We'll keep talking.
Yes, call back.
Regroup. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.